Hey everybody, I'm Cheyenne Adamson, and welcome back to the Yes Phonics channel, where homeschoolers, teachers, and educators everywhere come for valuable teaching information and insights. So today's topic is going to be about America and our illiteracy crisis. And America is facing an educational crisis that is costing the nation itself billions of dollars per year and leaves more than a third of our children struggling in the dark. In 2000, the National Assessment of the Educational Progress reported that 37% of Americans' fourth grade children, around 10 million students, could not read at a basic level. Illiteracy is directly tied to the rate of high school dropouts, as well as low wages, and all too often, a life of crime. America's educational system has been labeled by experts as fatally, irreparably flawed, and this is from Florida State University Office of Research. And I'm going to try to make the case today to show how a sustained frustration from the inability to read and the causation and correlation of these statistics really shows that we need to change what we're doing, and we really need to focus on, you probably guessed it, explicit phonics. In April 2012, the World Literacy Foundation published a report called The Economic and Social Cost of Illiteracy, stating that the cost of illiteracy to the global economy is estimated, wait for it, it's estimated at $1.19 trillion. In better news, however, there is a solution to one of the biggest problems that we face as a nation and a global partner. Research reveals that the secret coding system to unlocking illiteracy and opening doors to brighter futures for children who struggle with language arts, explicit phonics. As you guys have heard me talk about in my previous videos, explicit phonics is just a way to teach kids, ESL or native, or anybody who's remedial at reading, how to read, spell, and write effectively. And I argue that we can fix this billion-dollar problem, which is an epidemic, and we can fix it overnight by adopting the tried and true teaching method of explicit phonics on a national level. Also, to back my case up, scientific evidence based on neurological studies of how the brain processes information has revealed that basic building blocks of reading, writing, and spelling are phonemes, the sounds words make. And explicit phonics provides the single, most effective, and inexpensive, and comprehensive solution to teaching students how to read, spell, and write, especially for those with learning disabilities, dyslexia, or who study English as a second language. Explicit phonics decodes the sounds and sound sequences of the English language, enabling students to read, write, and spell virtually any word. And I don't mean to sound too dramatic here, but in a world where the highest earnings of a high school dropout is lower than that of the lowest earnings of a college graduate, the cost of that to our country is toxic and terrible. It just goes to show that education is still a cornerstone to earnings and what you can do in general when you pursue education. So I'm not saying that that's wrong that a high school dropout has lower earnings of that of a college degree. It just goes to show that somebody who is a high school dropout, they shouldn't be burdened with no opportunities. They should be able to go to a trade school, or learn a valuable skill that gives them the tools to be able to earn a lot of money. Just because you go to college doesn't necessarily mean or shouldn't entitle one to earning a great salary. Your skills should be dependent on what the marketplace demands and values. And so with that said, people, especially teachers and homeschoolers, should consider an inexpensive method of explicit phonics. Explicit phonics really is right at our fingertips. So in 2001, the No Child Left Behind Act put pressure on school districts in every state to teach kids how to read using scientifically based reading research. And leading researcher Joseph Torgenson, PhD at Michigan State University, who's a developmental psychologist, and he specializes in the scientific study of how children learn to read. This hit hard at the fallacies of America's educational system in what Frank Stevenson calls a steady descent into the dumbing down hell. Torgenson explains his teammates' findings as requiring intensive, explicit phonics instruction designed to do whatever is necessary to give children all the information and skills they need to learn to read. So he goes on to further state that the problem can be either solved outright or substantially alleviated through conscientiously applied phonics-based teaching. The results of applying explicit phonics to older students, dyslexic students, and underachieving students defied what most had said was impossible. And this was a report by Stevenson, which then turned challenged students into proficient readers. The secret of his success, reports Stevenson, is a teaching method steeped in the venerable principles of phonics. Lead researchers and people with very, very good academic credentials who are steeped in this research are showing and are bringing to light the important principle that phonics can actually help these students. So we should run with the research. The reason Explicit Phonics is so great is because it builds upon the time-tested knowledge of schools using very basic resources. All they need is pencil and paper, essentially, and a printer and a copying machine. And they can use an Explicit Phonics method at virtually no cost, besides the initial investment in a quality language, phonetic language arts program. But aside from that, there's usually with any good phonetic language arts program, there's no upgrades, there's no additional costs, there's no hidden fees. You guys can go online, go onto Amazon, and get Romualdus Spalding's The Writing Road to Reading for like $20, and schools could literally teach, teachers could literally teach from that manuscript all the way through, K through 12 if they wanted to. And you guys already have the copier. You guys can copy everything you need for multiple classrooms, for multiple students. If homeschoolers and schools in general just adopted the Explicit Phonics approach, they're going to cut down on their costs, all the way from businesses needing to remediate their employees on basic math, basic reading, basic writing skills, all the way to doctors, like I mentioned in my last video, doctors writing prescriptions in bad handwriting. All of this can be solved with a few $100s worth of a good reading program. That's it for the video today, you guys. If you feel like I missed something, or maybe didn't really address the argument, or you guys would just like to add something, feel free to type it out in the comment section below. I'll absolutely love to start a dialogue with you guys. And as always, take care, and I'll see you later, educators.